Okay, so you saw our social media postings. Yeah. A lot of people end up thinking, like I said before, that we're kind of a joke. Um, but that really isn't the case. I think that just people don't really realize that the technology of magic is just so present in our lives. So really, if they don't need it, they don't need it. And we're not really pressed. We have a lot of walk ins, a lot of people that come to us, and a lot of regulars. Hello there. Welcome in. Welcome to the tattoo shop. How are you today? Good, good. How are you feeling? Most people that come in here, they're not feeling that great, but we're here to fix that. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What brings you in today? Okay, you're feeling a bit lonely, sort of like needing a friend or a companion of some sort. Oh, that's wonderful. It's not wonderful that you feel lonely, but yeah, it's wonderful that you're here. I hope we can totally help you with that. There's a few like sort of ethic questions that I need to like ask you before we get started. Before I show you some designs, of course. But just a little bit about us, since it is your first time here. Um, we have been in business for a few years now. Most people don't really know about us. They think we're kind of a joke, but that's not really the case, right? So we provide sentient tattoos. These are tattoos that, through some form or another, through magic or mysticism, ends up being alive. They'll die when you die or if you kill them, which we don't really recommend. But if they are getting on your nerves, that is an option. It is not illegal to kill your tattoo. However, sort of the ethics behind it is a little bit dubious. Regardless, I would say that you've come to the right place here. If you're feeling a bit lonely, you can have a companion that is bound to your skin. You can't take them off. They can't run away, and therefore you'll never be alone again. Right? So, with that, let's just go ahead and get started. I'm going to ask you a few questions first, and then I'm going to take a few measurements. Then I'm going to shave the area in which you want the tattoo. I'll show you some designs, and then we'll go ahead and get you tattooed. And then we'll apply some second skin, make sure that everything is nice and sanitized, ready for you to head on home and take care of it. Okay? Okay, perfect. So, let us see here. What should we get started? Let's see. Did you have an appointment? Or is this... Okay. Cool. Good. Okay. So, could I get your name, please? Perfect. And you already sort of talked up in terms of like reasons as to why you're here. Can you discuss a little bit about how you found us? Okay. Okay, so you saw our social media postings. Yeah. A lot of people end up thinking, like I said before, that we're kind of a joke. But that really isn't the case. I think that just people don't really realize that the technology of magic is just so present in our lives. So really, if they don't need it, they don't need it. And we're not really pressed. We have a lot of walk ins, a lot of people that come to us, and a lot of regulars. So we're not too worried about our haters, I would say. Can you tell us your address? Yeah, it's just so that we do end up having... Actually, hold on. Let me just write down your address because I'm going to forget it. Okay, so just getting your address down here. I just want to make sure we get it. It is pretty important for us. So let me just... And did you say that was what? What was the number? Okay. So, yeah, the reason why we get that is because... after 2 weeks, we're going to have someone come by and check up on both you and the tattoo, make sure how everything's going. It's very rare, but sometimes what'll end up happening is that your personalities really won't clash. They'll clash, right? They won't. You won't get along very well. And in that case, we'll sort of do some adjustments. Either, we'll tattoo you, add a little bit more because depending on the design, we can add a little bit more and that'll change their personality. Yeah, sort of just like bioengineer something that's a little bit more to your tastes. Okay, and then lastly, I just sort of need you to understand, this is sort of just, we are giving you sort of a sentient being, and therefore it's more like you're getting a tattoo, but also getting a pet, right? But also another human being that's sentient and alive. So you kind of need to take care of them. They are sort of your dependent. They do count for your taxes as a dependent. So, that's another thing that you could, sort of a benefit, right? So you just need to understand that this is sort of a responsibility that you're taking, and this isn't something to be taken lightly. Okay. Perfect. That's what I needed. Okay, so before we actually really get started, do you want some tea? Something to sort of calm the nerves? Yeah. Let's just get you a little bit of tea. I think that's pretty important, so. Giving you some tea here. Okay. Here you go. I'm just going to place that down for you, okay? Okay, so what we're going to do now is look at a few designs, okay? These designs are going to be my own personal sort of make, but if you have any sort of suggestions, I can sort of freehand some on the spot, just whatever you want, okay? So, first this page over here, it's a nice little small page. What we have here is a set of twins. You sort of want to get them together. One is happy. Here you can see here. They have like a little smile, nice little cheekies, and nice, happy little eyes. This is the happy twin. They're very upbeat, very loving. They'll approve of anything that you do, basically good or bad. But it's a little bit dangerous to give someone something like this on its own. So we are obligated to give you their counterpart. And as you can see here, they have a sort of a similar design. Sort of Pac-Man style, right? Kind of like the ghosts. Yeah, and then they also have the same little cheekies and whatnot. But the sad one is going to disapprove of everything, right? So they'll give you sort of the negative and the positive, sort of like the devil and the angel on your shoulder, except that they're both sort of cartoon video game ghosts. And that's pretty important because if you struggle a little bit with figuring out what's right and what's wrong, or if you really want to have some sort of just someone to guide you, right? If you want sort of guidance in life, then this is a very good, these are very good options. And then down here, of course, we have just this little tiny moon here. You can kind of see. And then right here, we have the sun with all the... But these do, if they are sentient, they will sunrise and sunset upon your skin, and then the moon will rise and set according to our real life schedule. So it's pretty fun, actually. The only issue is that with the trail, where depending on where you put it on your body, the trail of the sun is going to burn. It's going to give you just a wee bit of a sunburn all the way around. Sort of its trail, right? And then the moon, of course, it's not really going to give you that much of a sunburn because it is just sort of reflected light from the sun. So over here, of course, what I was saying was, when it comes to the moon, of course, you're not going to get sunburned because, the moon is just reflecting the sunlight. But what will happen is if you're near water, expect the water to sort of be pulled by the gravitational force that this moon tattoo is going to be giving you. And depending on what's, how much is it blocked, right? This is a crescent moon, so some of it is blocked. But if you have the full moon, it's going to be in full power versus, if it's, if it's waxing or waning, depending, that sort of thing. Anyway, this over here is a little bit of a zippy design. So they're sort of based off of the little ghost people. However, This is a little bit more like if you're you want sort of like an energetic companion, right? You want someone that is going to zip around your body, look at everything. There's no hiding. With any of the tattoos that we give, there's no really hiding parts of your body from them, and so this one, he's not particularly critical, but he is very fast. And what this will do is. If you feel yourself being very melancholy, if you're a little slow, if you find yourself having a hard time sort of doing activities, um, or when you do them, you feel like you're always like behind, very, very good. At sort of getting you to sort of pick up the pace, Yeah, and then nice little, yeah. So this, I would say, very, very good companion, very good solo companion that you want to sort of just like have all around. Of course, it does come with a little bit of downgrades. I would say that sometimes people get a little bit sick of it. It's like kind of having a hyperactive dog. Sometimes you don't want the dog to really be, um, sometimes you just don't have the energy. And unfortunately, even though we can give you someone that will encourage you to have energy, they're not going to fix your energy issues. So this is page 1. And then over here, we've got page 2. Page 2, of course, we have sort of a little bit more of the classics, right? So we have, I'll start over here. I think this is the best place to start. This is just a simple butterfly. I left the designs on the actual wings blank because depending on who you are, right? Depending on your feelings and depending on your personality, it'll fill in by itself, it'll sort of, it's sort of like each one is a little bit unique. But, so having a butterfly, they don't talk. And so it's just sort of having a nice silent companion, right? Something that is very, very good for people that just need to have someone that is listening, and, you could go out and get a butterfly, but they're going to die, right? And this butterfly is just not going to die. It's also very good because if you particularly want a sentient tattoo that you can sort of hide away or is a little bit shy, I would say that this is a very good option. If, say, you didn't want the butterfly to be fluttering about, sort of going all around, chewing at your clothes, I would then suggest getting a little tree branch to park your butterfly. I don't know if you can see that. So the reason why this is pretty important is because the butterfly, while this butterfly can go everywhere, it has a nice place to sort of call home. And so it will end up staying there most of the time. And so you can have like a more directed conversation versus this one, if it's in your butt, it's going to be hard to find, right? If it's on the bottom of your foot, if it's in your armpit, it's kind of, there are places on your body that it's going to be hard to find and hard to see. Whereas this one you can sort of place somewhere, and more often than not, you will find the butterfly where it is. Now, if you're a little bit more of the controlling type, we can go over here where I can plot out in tattoo form the different places that the butterfly can go, right? So you have here like a tiny little sort of not foreshadowing, foreshortening, I would say. So you have sort of, small butterfly coming closer and then coming closer. We can sort of determine how far and close the butterfly is, where it can go on your body, and that way it has predetermined paths. I would say that this does limit. It's a little bit unethical. However, because sort of we're not struggling when it comes to money, but we did decide that this would be a good option. And of course, it doesn't have to be a butterfly. It can be a moth. It could be any sort of bug. Over here, we have a tiny little fly. I would say that a fly is very, very good if you want to drown out a lot of sounds in your life. The fly loves to go to your ear and just buzz right in there. Very, very good. And then up here, of course, we have a little bit of a rose. So this one is sentient, but it's sentient in the same way that like a plant is alive, right? It will grow, it will wilt, it'll do the things that a rose does, and you don't have to water it. But one of the brilliant things about this is that if you have sort of an off day or a bad day, you'll be able to tell from the flower, just based off of how it's wilting, right? And so, I would personally say that it's really good as like an emotional indicator if you have a hard time figuring out your own emotions, right? So this is a very, very good option. Next, here we have what I would call the inanimate objects section, right here. So kind of. So, what I would say is, let's go one by one, right? So over here we've got a nice little book. So this book, depending on what you want, we can add like a different cover or a different sort of title to the book. Right now I've left it sort of blank, but what will end up happening is that this book will be sort of like a memoir of your life, right? And so in terms of like a sentient tattoo, it will give you a really good chance to flip through your memories. If your actual memory is really hard, like you have like a very foggy memory, this is very good. For people, if you're going to have dementia or Alzheimer's, that's something sort of in your future. This is a very good one so that you can sort of look in and be like, yes, and sort of cementing yourself in like reality and fact. Okay. Over here we have a giant sword. This sword, of course, is going to be for the more masculine type, right? It's going to be one for those who want sort of an aggressive sort of companion, one that wants to fight all the time. And you know what? That's okay. If you want to fight, you want to fight, right? But one of the things about the sword is that it does, of course, care about chivalry. It does care about sort of like the it does care about the gender binary. We've really tried with this, but if you get it, it is going to, what's the word? It's going to take a little bit of effort on your part to get it to sort of, it has a very closed off sort of mindset. Of course, over here we have a wizard's hat. And this is very good, of course, for anybody that sort of feels themselves a little bit mystical, a little bit sort of like one, they want to be a wizard, they want to be a witch, they want to be a necromancer, and that sort of thing. You can get this sort of hat. And of course, it won't give you any magical powers, but it will talk to you a lot about different fantasy settings. It will talk to you a lot about different magical elements. And it will be a really good wingman for your own sort of spiritual journeys and successes. And of course I can change the design to whatever you would like. If you would like this to be a bit bigger, if you want there to be more of like a phrase on it, if you don't like this little tassel here at the top, you can also get rid of that. Yeah. And then over here, this is for those that want a little bit of a protector, right? So this is sort of a vine with thorns, right? And so what this will do is we're planting a seed, right? A tattoo seed, and it's going to grow all over your body. And that way, if someone touches you without your consent, if you want people to like not be near you, right? You're physically going to harm them just by them touching you. And of course, you can sort of guide it, you can talk to it and get it to sort of draw back. But if you find yourself more of the trusting everybody type and you worry that you trust too many people, this could be one just to sort of be like, hey, Vine, like, do you think that this is someone that I can trust? Do you think that I should, go on like a 10-hour trip with them? And they will sort of be like a good guide for you on that. And of course we have these tiny little ones, like we have a little cactus over here, and a little watermelon. Of course, I do like the watermelon, but I don't have to go on about this all day. If you have any particular requests that you want, I can also do that for you. Or if there is one design that you like, we can also do that. Okay, yeah, I can totally do that for you. I think that would go lovely on your skin. A question that I have is, where would you like it on your body? Okay, sort of like on your shoulder. I think that's a really good place, actually, because if you put it on your shoulder, then, it's right here. You can kind of look at it, talk to it, but it's also hidden by like a shirt or a top. Of course, if you wear sort of like a spaghetti strap or something, then you can see it, but you have that versatility, is what I was trying to say. So let's measure out where we would like this to go, okay? So let's just here. Okay. I'm just trying to measure out the proper, okay, let me just, because I need to be able to see the numbers too, Okay. Yeah, and you don't want it too big. Yeah, I totally understand that. Totally understand that. Okay. And over here. Okay. That's perfect. I think just right here will be perfect. Okay, so I am going to ask you to take a bit of a sip from the tea that I gave you. It is going to help you there is a little bit of painkiller in that, and that way you'll be able to withstand sort of the tattoo. This is not a normal tattoo process, and so it is going to be a little bit, you're going to need it so that you don't feel sort of the pain of a new entity being bestowed upon your skin. Okay, and so next, we're just going to go ahead and give you a little bit of a shave. So this is sort of what I'm going to be using. So if you could just sort of stand still for me, I'm going to go ahead and shave, okay? So just, okay, perfect. Yeah, you don't have too much hair actually, so it's really not that big of a problem. But it's just, any hair is going to cause a little bit of an issue. Yeah, and I do like to do sort of like a little bit of a dry shave. Sometimes when I do a wet shave, if a hair gets sort of stuck, sort of very smooth with the skin, it gets really difficult to get that off. So just, okay. Perfect. Yeah, I'm just trying to. Okay, good. That's good. Good job. Okay, and so now I think we're ready to go ahead and do the tattooing. If you're okay with that. So how are you feeling? Are you good? Okay. So it is going to be a hand poke tattoo, but I promise you that it's going to look very professionally done. Okay. So let's just go ahead and. Okay, how does that feel? Do you feel anything? Okay, good. Yeah, the tea is working. Okay, so just going and getting the outline in. So I try not to use stencils. I don't use stencils because I feel like when it comes to sentient tattoos, a stencil really limits what you can do. And I don't think it really works when it comes to sentient tattoos, to be honest. Of course, I would love to use a stencil, but I think that stencil, it's just not something that we offer. Or at the very least, the technique that we do just is not conducive to it. Okay, so just trying to. Okay, and then just a nice. Okay. And then. Okay, and. Okay. Okay. Okay, perfect. So we're not done yet. I'm just letting it sort of cement. Okay, how are you feeling so far? Good, 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 good. Okay, so let's just go ahead and continue. Okay. And there is a mirror behind me. If at any point, if you're looking down, you can't really see what's going on, please let me know. I'll get it, and you can get to go ahead and take a look at it and see how you feel about it, okay? Okay, and then That's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. How are you feeling? Okay, good. Good, good, good. Yeah. Did you want to take a look at it at the mirror? Okay. How is it? Yeah. Do you like it? Yes, and of course that part it might change a little bit with healing. That's why the person that goes in after 2 weeks is going to go ahead and take a look at it. And if you need a little bit of adjustments, again, if their personality is just like not jiving with you, we can go ahead and do a little bit of changes. But if it looks good now, then we should be good. But if there's anything you wanted to add or anything, please let me know. Okay. Okay, good then. Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for coming in. Of course, I already have sort of your information in terms of payment, so I'll just go ahead and get that processed for you. Is there anything else that you need? Yes, my assistant will take care of the second skin, give you instructions to how to sort of take care of the tattoo, and then you'll be on your way. Okay? Okay. Well, have a wonderful night. Okay, then. Bye-bye.